Like so many internet reviewers, when I was a little kid I really enjoyed watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. Except while most internet reviewers grew up with the 80s cartoon, I wasn't even alive yet, so my version was the early 2000s rendition. And after a few years of watching the early 2000s show, I found out that there was a live-action Ninja Turtles movie made in the early 90s, and when I was 10 or 11, I think, I checked it out. And when I saw that movie about 10 years ago, I really liked it. And it was such a good film that it appealed to me, someone who grew up with the early 2000s series, as the movie was made after the success of the 80s show. So I feel like the movie can appeal to a Ninja Turtles fan of pretty much every generation. And now as a young man in his early 20s, I still find a lot of good enjoyment when I watch the 1990 Ninja Turtles film. It's funny, cool, weird, and has some surprising dark and dramatic moments that even with the absurd idea of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you're still able to take pretty seriously, and it's just overall a pretty good kids film and will appeal to teenagers as well, and anyone who grew up with the Ninja Turtles series. It can bring a lot of fun nostalgia. And next to the Ninja Turtles, it has all the characters that you come to know and love. April O'Neil, Casey Jones, Master Splinter, and it has a pretty decent Shredder as the main villain. And to anyone who finds the idea of this franchise stupid or weird, take a chill pill. But also, just say the title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just say that, and if you can wrap your head around that idea, I think you can have a good time. And the turtle costumes and effects in the first film were done by the late Jim Henson. In fact, it was technically the last film that he worked on before his death. And I read that he was disappointed with the way the film turned out, mostly because of the violent content. But nonetheless, it was a great showcase of his talents, what his company could achieve beyond the Muppets. And then there was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. The almost immediate follow-up to the first film. I didn't see the sequel until I was already an adult, so it didn't appeal to me in the same way the first film did when I saw it 10 years ago. And as many people have pointed out, the second film is much more kid-friendly. After oversensitive parents groups complained about all the violence and the PG-13 at most profanity in the first film. One of the big differences here is, while the Ninja Turtles have their weapons, they never actually use them when fighting. Which is odd, but I'll give the film credit. It was actually able to have some pretty decent action and show some, well, goofier, some still pretty elaborate fight scenes where they didn't need to use their weapons, and it didn't bug me that much. Overall, while the second film is not as dark or dramatic as the first, if you loved the first film and you wanted to see a sequel to it, this is probably more than enough to satisfy you. And then there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, which everyone calls the absolute worst Ninja Turtles film ever made. However, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't think the third Ninja Turtles film is as bad as people make it out to be. I mean, it is awful, but it's not as awful as I thought. I mean, there are much worse sequels that have been made. And to be fair, there are 2 or 3 jokes in there that do legitimately make me laugh. However, in the end, it's just not very exciting. The humor is mostly pretty lame, and the animatronic effects used to make the Ninja Turtles were no longer done by Jim Henson's company, which is a shame, and you can see just what a downgrade the new effects team were. So final thoughts. First film is very good. If you grew up with the Ninja Turtles, you'll like it. If you have kids and you want to introduce them to the franchise, the first film is a good thing to include. Second film, not as good, but if you enjoyed the first film, I think you could like it. Third film, probably best just to skip. And if anyone's wondering if I'm going to cover the more recent Ninja Turtles films, maybe. But if I do, it ain't going to be anytime soon, so see you next time.